is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger.
Hello everyone, this is Uchi, and today I'll be showing you an amazing card trick that you can do with any deck. This is a card control called the convincing control. So, if you don't know, a control is when you take a card and make it look like it's going into the middle of the deck, however you have complete control. For example, maybe you leave the card in the middle like this, the Ace of Diamonds, and believe it or not, you have complete control over the card as the card is on the top of the deck. So I'll be teaching you a card control called the convincing control. And in a future video, I will teach you a cool application, which is a card trick, and actually my go-to card trick. But first, let's learn the convincing control. So here's the tutorial for the convincing control. So this control can be done with any deck of cards. So here's a brief overview so you know what's happening. Basically, there'll be two variations I'll be talking about, which are basically the same. But first, let me talk about the overview. A card is touched and it's shown to the spectator. But as you're showing underneath, what's happening is you're pulling and culling their card and spreading all the cards and continuing and putting their card on the bottom of the deck and squaring up, controlling their card to the bottom of the deck. So let's see how we can do this card control. So the first step is obviously to spread the cards. So we're going to spread the cards and ask them to make a selection. And make sure, don't ask them to take the card out, because for this, you need them to just touch it. So what you would say is, touch a single playing card, and they will touch it. Let's say they touch this one. Before you show it, what you're going to do, let's say it's the 9 of diamonds, you have this other packet of cards on top. And you see, and there's this card here. So what you're going to do, as if you were squaring up the cards, you're going to align. So you have this card, which is a random card, and you have their selection, the 9 of diamonds. You're going to take the random card and put it on top of their selection, squaring it and aligning it. Doesn't need to be perfect, as you can see, or might not see. There's a small gap here, but it won't be noticed. And then you have two cards here, and you're going to show them their selection. So you really are showing their selection, in this case the 9 of diamonds, but you're just having another card here. And what's happening is you're showing it to them like this or like this, and then once you bring it together, in the motion of bringing your hands down, and this will be happening like this, you're going to take these 3 fingers and cull the card and lift it up. And down here, it will just look like this card. And then from there, all that's happening is you're spreading these cards and explaining that they could have selected any card and closing up with this selection on the bottom. So you're spreading, a card is touched, so let's say the Queen of Clubs. What you can do is actually, you can spread the cards and ask them to touch it and actually show it to them. And then, this is what I used to do, you can just show it, and then, as if you were going to square up, you're going to pretend to square up, but you're just aligning these. And then you're going to show it to them again and remind them that this is their selection, and just make sure that they remember it. Just kind of like a recap. And once you've done this, you've already achieved the 2 cards together. And from there, you can cull it. So you're pulling it and you're opening a space. And you'll hear a sound. And then you're going to spread and explain and close it in. So here's the small variation, which is a bit harder. So once they've touched a card and you've aligned 2 of the cards, you're going to take this hand, bring it down, grab the 2 cards, and show it out jog. So this is a bit harder because you want the cards to be a bit more aligned, because if you out jog 2 cards, it might be a small discrepancy. But you're going to show the 2 cards together. And then once you've showed it, whoops, I separated it. So you don't want that to happen when you're performing. You can show the 10 of diamonds. And in the same motion, you're going to still cull it, but you're going to pull downwards like this. So then from here, it looks like you're out jogging their card, whereas you've switched their card and put their card in the bottom. And the good thing about this is you can let them push it in which makes the control so much more stronger. So that was the convincing control. And another application that you can use it, I won't go in depth for this, but it's called culling cards. So maybe you need, for a card trick, you need a card on, a specific card on the top. Maybe it's an ace. What you can do is, you can use the same principle of culling a card. You can ask, actually, instead of having a setup with the card on top, you can ask them to shuffle it completely so they know there's no setup at all. And as you're showing all the cards are different, you can actually go to, let's say, the ace of spades, and you can cover it, just align it, just like the convincing control. And as you're showing them, you might want to do this face up, and then, so like you're spreading it, and you're showing the back of the cards, like this, and then you're aligning them, but this will be happening like this. And then as you bring your hands downwards instead to show them, you're culling it. So you're just pulling it in the back and spreading all the cards to show that every card in the deck is different. And once you close up, you'll be able to get whatever card you need to the top. So I won't go too in depth, but that's something that you can play around with and think about if you want to get a specific card to the top of the deck and show them the faces. Now there are several uses for controlling a card, and there are several tricks that you need to control a card. So instead of always doing that basic double undercut or cutting control, you could use more advanced and invisible controls like these, where it looks like the card is actually going in the middle and you're not even doing anything to the deck. A huge advantage of this card control is that the deck order doesn't change. Maybe you have some stacks, or the card is in some order that you need for that card trick. Using this card control, you'll be able to not only control the card invisibly, but also keep and maintain the order of that deck. So before I finish the video, let me just go over it one last time with the card face down. So you're going to spread, and I'm going to actually flip over the card that they touched. Let's say it's the Three of Hearts. You're going to align this card on top like this. So now you can't see the Three of Hearts. Like this. And then you're going to show them the Three of Hearts. And right now you can see the back of the Three of Hearts because I flipped it over for the purpose of explaining. And so you can see it closely. So Three of Hearts, you're aligning the card on top and showing it. Then you're going to pull it like this. And then spread all the cards into that culled space. And then close with that selection on the bottom. Alright, and that was my tutorial on convincing control. And I hope you use this card control and enjoyed this video. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.